Hi, my name is Jimmy Williams with NFL Draft Diamonds, and I have yet another diamond in the rough for you guys to meet today. His name is Mason Tipton. He is a wide receiver out of Yale. Nice to have you on, buddy.
Appreciate you having me, man.
If people don't know who you are, dude, it's time. It's time for everybody to get on the bandwagon because you are going to be in the pros very soon. Absolutely kicked your pro days butt, and now you are, dude, you're on everybody's radar. Even so much so, a guy who might find himself drafted here in a couple of weeks, which is amazing. But
Appreciate
Mason, go
that.
ahead, get us rolling with this interview and tell us where you're from, and we'll walk from there.
No doubt, man. Thanks again for having me. My name Mason Tipton. I'm from Akron, Ohio. I was born and raised here. Went to school here. Went to Hoban, Archbishop Hoban High School. And yeah, man, I'm really fond of my hometown. I think I'm a homebody at heart. Every time I get to come back and train here, and really spend time with my family, it's always a blast. So real fortunate about where I'm from.
Cool. You said again, Akron, Ohio, Archbishop Hoban is where you went to
Yes,
high
sir.
school. Also a standout baseball player there, man. A real big baseball guy growing up. And as a football player, won a few state championships, which is kind of nice. Let's talk about you as a high school athlete before we get moving, man. I mean, again, a lot of great memories, winning some titles and such, but uh, give us at least one memory of your time back in the day.
I mean, man, we as far as football goes, every year I was there, I didn't play varsity until I was a sophomore, but from a freshman to senior, our football team won, state championships every year. It's kind of just in the culture that we had. But I play with a lot of talent, man. I think the coolest part about it is it was a lot of guys that were playing for the guy next to him. So I loved high school. It afforded me a lot of opportunities. Got me, opportunity to go to Yale and play there. Extremely grateful for Hope and what it did for me, for sure.
And also, I had to mention, I mean, again, standout baseball player as well as a football player. Um, Talk about some baseball real quick. I mean, I think you did very well for yourself, at least at the high school level. And dude, I was just kind of wondering with the success that you found in that sport, was anybody knocking on the door as you were making your way to college or what?
Uh, kind of. It wasn't as frequent as football. Like I said, the team success for football kind of brought a lot of college scouts into the school. Baseball, obviously, they're a extremely good baseball program now. They weren't. I don't. We weren't as good as the guys that are there now. But definitely not the same amount of college exposure. I think. When I was a senior, but I love baseball, man. I played it since I was a little kid. Played it longer than I played football, so I always have some love for baseball, and it was treated me well too. So I enjoyed every second, especially up to my senior year.
You still a fan these days? You're able to go out and make a game, like a baseball game anytime or what? Yeah, I mean, obviously you're busy. So
Man,
I'm just
yeah, I can't tell you the last time I went. I think a couple of years ago I went to a Guardians game, but I don't make it out to many baseball games.
no, hey, I get you. You a fan of anybody growing up? I mean, before we move along from that sport.
See, to be honest, not I didn't watch a lot of baseball growing up. I never have. I always had a blast playing it. I never was much for watching. If I was gonna watch a sport, it was gonna either be basketball or football, to be honest.
Fair enough. And Mason, obviously, baseball was great, but you put a lot of your time and energy into football, which is where you've had the most success, and you're going to continue to have that as you move forward. What is it about the game of football that you love the most?
Oof. Um, I don't know, man. I don't know if it's one thing I can pick, but what I do know is kind of what drives me every day is I'm so obsessed with just reaching the potential that I know I can get to. I think that's what wakes me up and gets me out of bed wanting to go hit the ground running and train every day. I think that's kind of what separates me from everybody else is I think I have a certain mindset and competitive edge that um, everything I do from today to tomorrow till weeks from now is I'm obsessed with becoming the best version of myself on the field, and I think um, that's something I'm always going to be working at, every day. So I'm excited for that.
Gotcha. So, coming out of Archbishop Hoban, there in Akron, Ohio, you find yourself at Yale. Yale's the school that gave you that opportunity. Just kind of curious, though. I mean, obviously Yale, very prestigious academic institution. Let's just be real, one of the best, if not the best, really one in the world, honestly. So, but outside of that, were there any other schools that were pursuing you at the time? Like what sold you on Yale?
For sure, man. I think it goes back to how I was recruited out of high school. I wasn't a receiver, a starting receiver till a junior. So we had a lot of, like I said, a lot of talent at the school. We had two really good wideouts that were older than me. So it wasn't really until I was a senior that I really saw wide receiver one production. And I think that I started I started the my senior year with one offer, which was going to the Naval Academy. And I ended that season with around 15. Or I ended my senior season with around 15 offers, and really it came down to Kent State or Yale, and two different sides of college, I think. But as soon as I got Yale, my mom kind of she was like, if you're gonna do anything, you're gonna take the visit. You're gonna take the visit and give it a try. And I'll be honest, as soon as I went there, I spent time with the team, at the coaches. I loved it. Loved it. I never once saw myself as an Ivy League football player growing up. But like I said, man, I was convinced as soon as I stepped foot on the campus. So, and then obviously till now I've had an amazing experience at Yale. So
Well, I mean, and who knows what would have happened? I think if you would have ended up at the Naval Academy, I don't know if we would know your name. Let's be
I
honest.
don't know, man.
A lot of that is just
Triple
kind of
option.
because of the offense that they run. Hopefully, I don't know how you would be worked into that sort of system. Even if you ended up at some other school, I don't know, man. But certainly, the stars were aligned in such a way that you were able to go to Yale and find success. And really, one of the things this season that I've been pounding the table for is there's a lot of talent in the Ivy Leagues, and people aren't really giving you guys the credit that you deserve. Dude, obviously they're at Yale, great talent on both sides of the ball. And then all throughout the whole conference, man, everything is, a lot more competitive than people think. So,
No doubt.
let's go ahead and talk some more about Yale. Talk to me about y'all's offense. How would you describe it?
I think we were pretty dynamic. Kind of starts at the quarterback position. Nolan, being a 3-year starter, two-time player of the year. I mean, he did a lot for our offense. I think, um, he's so dangerous on the ground that he has to be respected, and I think that that gave more opportunities for man coverage in the back end. I think a lot of teams' primary goal was, hey, we're not going to let 12 beat us with his legs. But I mean, I'll be honest, I didn't see a team really stop him even when that was when that was the game plan. So, but he's a phenomenal player, man. We've played together for, like I said, 3 years. And the man can throw a beautiful deep ball, man. We have a lot of success in that offense, and I think there's a lot of players from running backs to the O line to the wide receiver play. We just had a lot of talent, but I think it all starts with 12.
Yeah, I mean, he obviously sets the tone, does a good job as a runner and as a thrower, and then occasionally finding you open for some passes. And you had yourself a pretty good year this past year, 10 touchdowns, named first team All Ivy League, which is great. And finding a lot of great success, man. What did you get out of your last year there as as a member of the Yale team?
Um, I think I think the coolest part about it is, being a senior. It's kind of the last little imprint you can put on the Yale football program. As Team 150, which is what we were this past year. And I think winning as you go out. We now as our class exits, we were three-time um, Ivy League champions, but it's always a little different when you're leaving and you can leave behind a championship. I think that's the coolest part, especially doing it with the guys that we came in with. I think that's super special, and being able to share that moment with the brothers on our team. That was extremely cool.
Yeah, again, a lot of guys around you. You guys did very well. So let's focus on you as a prospect. Again, a receiver. Talk about yourself as a receiver and maybe how you feel you might be different than everybody else. Like what makes you an elite prospect this year?
For sure, I think um, something I've done, every year is I've always been a big play guy. That's kind of just been the role I've had at Yale. Contested catches. I'm really talented off the line of scrimmage, and I'm fast. I think I win with a lot of separation, but I think something that gets kind of lost in the shuffle is that because I win so much on the deep ball, um, I think a lot of people forget that I can run every route in the tree. And I think that's something that I can't wait to showcase wherever I'm going to be at. But yeah, man, I'm very twitchy, very explosive, and I make plays.
Gotcha. You talking about a receiver who can run a lot of different routes. What's your favorite one to run for your offense?
Man, I don't know. Like I said, I've been a big play receiver my entire career. It's hard. It would be hard for me to say I don't love winning on a go or a post ball, but at the same time, I love running slants and taking those yards after the catch to the crib. So
Gotcha.
you know,
I'm thinking about you as a guy, again, looking at a guy who's about 5'10", 180 pounds. I mean, some guys might want to, bring you in as a slot guy or even put you out there on special teams, even as a returner. What would you
no
say
doubt,
to really embracing that role?
man. I honor. I mean, um, I'd be honored to do anything. I think that's something that's extremely important. Whatever role that I'm afforded the opportunity to take is something that I'll dominate to the best of my ability. And I think that's who I've been my entire career. So it doesn't matter if it's any special teams or being a wide receiver. I'll do whatever it takes.
Gotcha. And again, we've said it before. Dude, you are a fast mofo, man. Really fast. I mean, you absolutely destroyed your pro day here recently. 4.33
Appreciate it, man.
for people. I don't know how official that is. Maybe somebody even got you even faster, but dude, that is fast. And this is for a guy with no track and field experience. And so I'm
Thank you,
trying
man.
to think like, where does the speed come from? And so answer
I
that,
gotta give it
man.
to my parents, man. I gotta give it to my parents. I think my dad played ball at the University of Akron, in the MAC. So he was a DB. Now I don't know exactly how fast he was, but my mom was also a gymnast, so I get a lot of athletic genes from them. I can only give credit to them, and I got a great speed coach here in Akron. So um, I got to give credit where credit is due.
Awesome, awesome. So, talk about your best memories that you've had there at Yale. I mean, you've talked about winning some championships and such. Walk me through perhaps your favorite moment, even a specific play that comes to mind.
Um, I think the greatest game I've been a part of was probably my freshman season, um, in a double overtime thriller at home against Harvard. That was the last game of the year. Um, to me, that game, replaying it in my head is almost like a story, kind of like a fairy tale. Um, we were down early, not playing very well, but rallied back, got it to overtime, and we really just a culmination of how good that senior class was, and then me as a young guy contributing back then, and wanting to do whatever I could for those guys, those seniors. I think that that game is probably the most extraordinary game I think I've been a part of.
Cool, cool. And again, a lot of great wins this past season, really done very well. Who's up and coming in that program? Dude, there's a lot of seniors coming out this year.
Hmm.
A lot of guys also transferring. And so
Uh-huh.
I don't know about next year. I don't know what's going to happen. Who's up and coming in in that program in Yale?
Oh man, we got a lot of guys, man. I think, like you said, I think the Ivy League, for whatever reason, a lot of talent comes out of the Ivy League. Like you said, I got a few wideouts that I think are going to be special. I like a lot of them. We're in the midst of a quarterback battle, so I'm interested to see who takes the helm. But and as you said, we have transfers. We have guys. Um, Joe Vaughn, who was one of the best defensive players in the league this year, is at UCLA this year. So going to be following him. As he goes on. So but we have a lot, man. We have a lot of talent, and I'm really excited. Um, just for scouts to end up going back and watching practice and seeing how much talent we actually have on the roster.
Nice. So Mason, finished up your time there, well at Yale, and then after that, ended up at the Tropical Bowl down in Florida. Talk about your time down there and anything that you took from it. So, talk about the highlights of being at the Tropical Bowl.
For sure. I think that was my first kind of experience outside of college playing football. It was a blast, man. I mean, like I said, I'm a real competitive guy. Any chance I have to go out there and compete is something that I can't wait to do. And I had a blast, man. And fortunately, I was able to go down there with Nolan. So, we were out there using our hand signals when we were, from Yale. So I hate to say that we had a little bit of an advantage, but um, that was fun. Experiencing that with Nolan was something that we both were grateful for. Um, but it was a good experience overall, man. A lot of scouts, great turnout, and it was a place where I was able to show what I can do against other talent.
Yeah, and kudos to the Tropical Bowl. I think a lot of people forget about the Tropical Bowl in the mix of things. I mean, and even with the way the All-Star circuit has developed, at least this past season, a lot of talent trickled down, and you saw a lot of great talent at the Tropical Bowl, like yourself. So, um, interesting. You actually can go on YouTube and watch the Tropical Bowl, watch you out there, catches and
Hmm.
passes. So
Yes,
definitely
sir.
something to turn on. So bro, from there you've done well for yourself. You've been training and you trained yourself up so well that your pro day was phenomenal. Just want to run down some of these numbers. If you have different ones, let's clean it up. So
No doubt.
4.33 40, 37-inch vertical, 10.5 broad jump, and 12 reps at the bench. So,
Yep.
what what do you got to say about your pro day, man? These are some stellar numbers. Like when you're running in the 4.3s, that's a draftable speed right there. By the way, talk
No
about your
doubt.
pro day overall.
Yeah, man. You know, I think the most important thing about the pro day was I had to give teams a reason to watch my film. And, I understand, that the Ivy League is different from the Big Ten. I understand that, and but at the same time, I know that I'm a caliber player who can play at any level. Um, and like I said, it was absolutely paramount that I was able to put numbers like that out there, simply for the fact that I knew I was being overlooked. And I think um, that my skills, really translate to being a great wide receiver at the next level. I think that just getting those numbers out there was something that I absolutely had to do.
Hey, you laid it out on the line and got noticed. So kudos for you for that. And I'm
Appreciate that.
assuming since you've done that, you've probably been on the radar of a lot of, professional teams. What's been what's life been like since then? Like what you've been doing? Like have you had any visits or interviews or what?
Um, yeah, I just did the local days. I was just had a local day with the Giants and the Jets. Um, but really just making sure I answer my phone. Like I said, the scouting process for me started late, just because of the pro day. So now it's just, fielding, making sure I'm answering my phone, going over interview questions with, whatever team it may be. Um, and yeah, man, I'm extremely blessed. I'm so fortunate to be in this position. This is just this the way it's going. I can't thank God enough. So just extremely humbled and excited as this keeps going on and getting towards draft.
Cool. So definitely something to look forward to in the coming weeks. Things will be here before we know it, man. By the end of this month, you're gonna know where you're gonna end up, which is kind of nuts to
No
think
doubt.
of.
No
So
doubt.
do want to take a moment, meet this Mason Tipton guy outside of football. What all about you do we need to know? Anything of interest really that you want to add, whether any of your passions in life, any special skills or talents, whatever you're passionate about, man. Talk to me about it for a few minutes.
I'll be honest, man. I'm an extremely simple guy. Um, you know, training and really football is what I love to do. There isn't some crazy hobby that I do off the field. I like to relax. I like movies. I like shows. And I like playing my PlayStation 5. It's really extremely simple for me. Any chance that whenever I'm not training, I'm recovering. So yeah, man, it might be a little boring to hear, but I'll be honest. I'm real simple and like I said, man, I'm just driven, extremely driven to reach where I want to get to.
Okay. Want to throw a couple fun questions your way. So, recommend a show for me to binge watch that you've been watching lately.
Okay. Um, Man, I watched Last Kingdom on Netflix. If you haven't seen that, it's kind of like a Vikings-esque show.
Okay.
Great show on Netflix. Great show.
Gotcha. And as a movie guy, give me a couple of your favorites, man.
Well, we might as well keep it recent. I just watched Dune 2. It's phenomenal, phenomenal. And staying on Christopher Nolan, I love the Dark Knight, love the whole Dark Knight trilogy. So, um, great movies.
Some of the best stuff is Dark Knight. I get that a lot from people, actually.
Yeah,
Felt like
great
that was
films,
delivered, just almost just perfectly. Um,
no doubt.
let me see if I can throw a couple other ones just for fun. You're in the locker room and you got your earbuds in and you're listening to some music, trying to get yourself ready. What's in your head, man? What are you listening to?
I've been a Drake guy since I was a little kid. There's a lot of Drake, a lot of Future. Those guys, a lot of Gunna. I have a variety, but I'm really a Drake fan at heart. Um, if there's a if you most likely if you catch me listening to something, I probably bet it's Drake.
Okay. Hey, nothing wrong with that. So one more and then we'll wrap things up. Is there perhaps a celebrity that you love an opportunity to meet someday, whether it be an actor, musician, or athlete?
I mean, being from Akron, I'm a massive LeBron fan. Been a LeBron fan my whole life. So yeah, that would probably be LeBron.
So he's definitely number one. Dude, I
Yeah,
get it.
probably.
I think a lot of people look up to him in more ways than one. So cool.
No doubt.
Well, Mason, as we wrap up our time, obviously, man, this has been fun. Get a chance to know you and your story. And again, looking at a very talented athlete trying to make his way to the pros. As we close up, talk to all those people out there that might still be doubting you. that, tell them why you would make a great addition to any NFL team. Go ahead and close us out with your pitch.
No doubt, man. You know, like I said, I'm extremely humbled to be where I am, and I think um, the things that I can do on the field, can change a program, change an organization. I think um, I'm really just waiting for the opportunity to show whoever gives me the opportunity, man. I'm grateful and can be anywhere, but I'm ready to roll. So I'm just excited, man. Can't wait to get rolling.
Well, Mason, this is really just the start of a lot of great things yet to come. And again, very soon, I think everybody's going to know your name because you're going to, make an NFL team and shock the world, man. So show that this, smaller Yale wide receiver is one of the best guys in the country. So, Mason, want to wish you all the best, and you take care of yourself. Okay.
Thank you, my man. Appreciate it.
Cool. Once again, we got with us Mason Tipton, wide receiver, Yale. Check him out, man. He's a phenomenal athlete.
Appreciate that.